Welcome back everyone, I'm K-Plays Games, this is EVE Online, and today we're taking a look at the enormous Equinox expansion, which was released on Tuesday 11th of June 2024. It is currently Saturday the 15th of June 2024. Why is it taking me 4 days to make this video? Well, one reason is that there is a lot to cover. That is not the main reason. The main reason is that they kept changing things since the expansion. The expansion came out on Tuesday, and on Wednesday they panicked and nerfed a whole lot of stuff. And on Thursday they realised they'd nerfed it too much and changed some of it back a little bit. And then Friday, Association Football got in the way of me doing anything on Friday, so here we are on Saturday. As I said, there's a lot to go through, so let's start going through it. These are the expansion notes. A lot of it was nullsec solve changes. This is changing the way nullsec works, which is outside the usual scope of my channel, but we'll go through some of it anyway. In nullsec, orbital skyhooks are replacing the orbital customs offices and planets because there are brand new commodities which only appear in nullsec, and skyhooks are part of harvesting those. They are power, workforce and reagents. Power is essentially like a fitting constraint for an entire solar system. The amount of power a solar system can generate from planets determines what kind of infrastructure things you can have, and therefore what kind of sites you can have in that system. It's pretty cool. Nullsec's quite upset about it, but then they get upset when anything changes, so who cares? Workforce is another new thing for them, and reagents which are used in other applications. The Sovereignty Hub is a brand new structure which is replacing the old infrastructure hubs. Same with TCUs, they're being changed as well. Various new upgrades, and nullsec are going to be happy about this. Well, they should be happy about this. They've been moaning about the redistribution of ores which happened several years ago, and they've been demanding that they have more titanium in nullsec. They've got it now, but they're still moaning about it. As we see, new mining sites that the prospecting arrays, these are the mining upgrades, can spawn, contains an abundance of Veldspar, and that's pure titanium. So yeah, they should be happy, but they're not happy. And then they get another one that gives them pyrite, and then Mexilon, titanium and pyrite, isogen, noxium. So nullsec now has all the minerals again, which is everything they ever wanted, but they're still moaning about it. What they wanted apparently was each site to be one rock the size of a planet that they could put an entire fleet on and just AFK and get unlimited amounts of everything. But it turns out these mining sites have thousands of very small rocks, so they actually have to pay attention to what they're doing, and they don't like that, and they're very upset. And they have brand new combat anomalies with escalations, which have guaranteed officer spawns. So yay, maybe the price of Estimel's officer gear is going to drop to about 5 ISK after this all gets farmed. Again, this is all aimed at capital ships and things like that. Guaranteed faction spawns, guaranteed officer spawns, so more ISK printer goes burr for nullsec guys. The main fun is going to happen on the 20th of June when all the power things actually get turned on and power becomes a limiting factor for what you can build and use in nullsec. So keep an eye out for that in 5 days time. There is also the Metenox moon drill, which can replace Athenors and Tataras with their mining drills. As you may know, the way that Athenors and Tataras work, they fire a big laser at a moon, blow a chunk of it off, tractor beam it into space and detonate it into a mining site, which is then mined normally by players. The Metenox moon drill does all of that on its own automatically, but it does only have a 40% efficiency. But that's fine, you know, it's passive income, so I'm sure Metenox will be replacing almost all the Athenors and Tataras in nullsec, because they're quite lazy out there. We have new ships, which I will be taking you through very soon. These are what got changed when the patch hit. We had been telling them for weeks. As soon as they released the stats, all the players are like, bloody hell, these new ships are a bit overpowered, are they not? But the developers are like, nah, it'll be fine. Then they released them. So we made ridiculously overpowered fits, and then they panicked, and on Wednesday they nerfed the hell out of them. And then on Thursday we pointed out that they nerfed them too much, so they restored a little bit of their stats. So all the stats that you're seeing here, don't read them because they all got changed quite significantly over the last few days. There are new skills for these ships, which is Upwell Haulers and Upwell Freighters. And they say that there are 3 new skills, but there's not, there's 4. There's Upwell Starship Engineering, but what they have not told you that there's also Upwell Encryption Methods, which is the fourth skill that you need. And of course, because everything has to be in Faction Warfare LP stores these days apparently, that's the only place you can get the Starship Engineering and Encryption Methods skill books. The Upwell Freighters skill and Upwell Haulers skill are sold at Upwell Consortium member corporation stations. What the hell does that mean? Well, I'll show you. In this little note here, it's not explained in-game who the member corps of the Upwell Consortium are. You have to go looking for it. The Upwell Consortium is the consortium that builds all the Upwell stations and the Upwell ships. That is comprised of Chemotech, the NPC corporation belonging to the Galanti Federation, Ifear & Co. from the Mimitar Republic, Itiri from Caldari State, Zor & Sons from the Amar Empire, Intaki Bank from the Syndicate, and Mordu's Legion from Mordu's Legion Command. These are the 6 NPC corporations which belong to the Upwell Consortium. Now, the Upwell Consortium is not an alliance, so there's nothing you can click on in-game which will give you that list. You just have to go looking for it, and I'm just giving you all the corps, so that is where you can get the skill books and the blueprints. Balance changes. Carriers have had significant changes to how they operate. Now they have effectively a small Titan jump bridge. They can take between 5 and 30 other players with them when they jump to a sino. That's pretty cool. It's limited to corvettes, frigates, destroyers, cruisers, battlecruisers and battleships, including faction T2, T3 pirate versions, so anything sub-capital, they can move it. They cannot move haulers. Notice that haulers are not listed here, so they can take combat ships with them in the jump portal. That's pretty cool. It's a little baby Titan bridge. And they also have brand new capital micro jump drives, which moves the carrier itself 250 kilometers. And they have a capital micro jump field generator, which will move the carrier and up to 50 extra sub-capitals and up to 4 capitals 250 kilometers in whatever direction it's facing. So yeah, they're all about movement and mobility now, which is pretty cool. And they also got faction light and support fighters, and guess where they spawn? That's right, the Faction Warfare LP stores, because everything has to be in the Faction Warfare LP stores. Titan Doomsday weapons got their damage doubled because of power creep. Everything's been power creeped upwards to be more survivable, so the Titan Doomsdays were a little bit obsolete, so they've had their damage doubled to 3 million damage. The luxury yacht has been significantly nerfed because it was too good at rolling wormholes, so that's all been changed. Faction warfare and insurgencies have been balanced quite heavily. I'm not going to read all this stuff out, there's a lot, so feel free to have a look at the patch notes. The Vendetta and Vehement pirate capital ships have had their build costs significantly reduced because they were ridiculously expensive. There's been lots of graphics changes, the planets have all been made different. I was going to say better, but some of them are a little over bright, so you can't actually see what you're doing in planetary interaction anymore. So that's fun, but they look different, so that's nice. We can make our own skins now, but it costs you so much money. It costs Plex to make the skins. You're getting quadruple dipped. You're spending Plex or cash to have a sub to play the game. Then you have to spend Plex to make the skins, and you have to spend more Plex to sell them. And there's a 30% tax when you do sell them. So this absolute nonsense costs so much money. It costs you billions and billions to make your own skins. And unless they change the price quite significantly, there's going to be nobody doing it within a month other than about a dozen really autistic people churning them out. No one else is going to do it. It's way too expensive. There's an entire new subset of skills to do all this nonsense, which we can find here under sequencing. There is 11 skills which all need an awful lot of training. These determine how long it takes you to produce the skins and the different options for the skins and how long they last and all that nonsense. So yeah, unless CCP seriously change the way this works, ain't no one gonna do it, because it's way too expensive and takes far too long. Corporation projects have been changed. There are new corporation projects. Lose a ship. That's right, you can pay your players for losing a ship. Why would you want to do this? Well, for fun. No, because it makes it an automatic ship replacement program. If your corporation members lose a ship, then they will be paid for doing so they can buy a new ship. It's automatic ship replacement. That's pretty cool. earn loyalty points and salvage wreck. Salvage wreck is easy enough, it's just creating hordes of salvage for the corporation to use to build rigs. And earning loyalty points, if you put the loyalty point tax up to 100%, then it's a good way of earning loyalty points for the corporation. Daily goals has changed significantly. We're going to have to go back in game for this. If we go here to opportunities and air daily goals, as you'll see, as usual, you have your 4 daily tasks. If you do 2 of them, you will be rewarded with 5,000 skill points. This used to be 10,000 a day, it's now been reduced to 5,000 a day. But fret not, because this new thing up the top exists. Each day you do 2 of your 4 tasks, you will light up one of these green bars, and every 3 days you will hit a bonus reward. As you can see, I have done 4 days, so I got some ever marks. There's some of the new skin stuff, don't care about that. The day 9 reward is 5 plex. I'm not sure how long this is going to be around, so farm as much of it as you can, because that's a little bit overpowered. And 8 million ISK, and on day 9 I will get 150,000 skill points and 75,000 skill points. Why are the rewards split into 2? And that is because the bottom row is what alphas get, and omegas get the top row and the bottom row. The thing to realise here is that when you hit the 12th reward, it does not reset back to day 1. This is a 30-day cycle, so any rewards you get over the 12th day will just be 5,000 skill points. But that's fine, because then that means you only need to really work hard for 12 days out of 30 to get the big rewards, which is pretty cool. But if you do all 30 days, then there's 225,000 skill points here, and another 45,000, which adds up to 375,000 every 30 days, which is 75,000 more than the old way. The old way, as you know, was 10,000 skill points a day. Multiply that by 30, 300,000 skill points. So the new way actually gives you more skill points than the old way does if you're Omega. Doing 3 or 4 of the daily tasks does not give you another chevron. It is a maximum of 1 chevron a day. And you will notice there is a new daily goal here, because that's been changed as well. There are 2 new daily goals: earn 50 loyalty points and salvage 15 wrecks. Easy peasy, not difficult at all. The daily login rewards have been removed, so you cannot just log in, get a prize, log out and go home. And if we look back in game, these rewards like the skins and the evermarks, these will be changing every 30-day cycle. So in 16 days, at the end of the first 30-day cycle, these will probably be being replaced, but with things like skins and boosters, which is what you used to get in the daily login rewards. So you have to log in and actually do something. You have to undock your ship. I know, scary for some people, but you have to undock your ship and go and scan the signatures and salvage the wrecks, and then build up your daily rewards to actually get your skins and your boosters now. Now, there have been complaints about this salvage 15 wrecks goal. This only seems to count a wreck as being salvaged if it actually gives you something. As you know, if you salvage, sometimes it will say, unfortunately, this wreck contained nothing of value. If that happens, it does not count that wreck. So people are moaning at having to go and salvage like 50 odd wrecks to get 15 successful salvages. But that's just the way it goes. I'm sure CCP will change that. Mind you, these days you never know. The ship hangar has changed quite a bit, so let's take a look at that. If you go to this icon here, which is change inventory view, there is now a new option called cards. It tells you exactly what the ship is, what its bonuses are, and if you're in the ship at the moment, you can see the fit of the ship listed as well. People are not overly enthused about this, so most people just click here and go back to the icons classic view. But you will notice on the icons classic view, you now have the overview icon of the ship, so we can tell at a glance that these are haulers, this is a capsule, and people are kind of moaning about that, because when you have a full ship hangar, it's like visual puke. It's just really hard to see because of all the icons. But maybe that will get changed, maybe it won't. There is a new skill panel in the fitting screen for ships you don't have skills for. Oh god, what ships don't I have skills for? Leviathan, I think? Yeah, we'll go for a Caldari Titan. Ah good, I don't have the skills. When you click on the I don't have skills button, this new panel shows up. It used to just tell you that you don't have the skills for it. Now it tells you exactly how long it will take you to do. You can buy and train the skills from this thing, or you can click here and create a skill plan. So you can make the fit, and then if you don't have skills for it, you mouse over this, click this, it will automatically create a skill plan for the entire fit, everything you don't have skills for. That is a good addition. I like that quite a lot. The ship tree has also been changed. We now have the Concord ships. The Concord ships are now on the ship tree. Hurrah! Here we are: Pacifier, Enforcer, Monitor, Marshal, and the Society of Conscious Thought. That's right. Metamorphosis, Sunesis, Gnosis, and Praxis are all on the ship tree now, which is pretty cool. When you unlock a ship, you will get a notification and you will get an indicator on the ship tree itself, and you'll get a new box down here which will tell you what ships you've unlocked. That's quite cool, I quite like that. The new Upwell Haulers are in the Edencom section, because apparently they're Edencom ships. Here they are: Squall, Deluge, Torrent, and Avalanche. As I said, we'll be taking a closer look at those in a couple of moments. Homefront operations have been tinkered with again. These are constantly being tinkered with because they're too easy, they pay too much money, and they're constantly being nerfed, and this is another round of nerfs. One good thing they have done is that they've established an ownership of the site. The first fleet in through the gate is assigned as the owner. Anyone else who comes into the site will be flagged as suspect and can be PvP'd. Pretty cool. More nerfs and tweaks and changes, lots and lots of them. I am not reading all those out, so have a look at the patch notes, which of course will be linked in the description below. Paragon missions are now requesting lots of different ships, but who cares about that, because anyone who does Paragon missions is an idiot, because Evermarks are completely useless. Incursions have had small changes. C5 and C6 wormholes have had pretty significant changes that the wormhole people are all crying about, because a capital ship must be present in sites prior to the appearance of the declocked transmission relay to trigger the Tyrannos spawn, and they're all crying about that, so who cares about them. One excellent addition is that the Triglavian minor victory systems in high sec, low sec have been changed. Triglavians are now no longer aggressive if you have 0 standings. They are passive in the same way that the Edencom are. That means new players do not have to go to Pockfin in order to access every area of high sec map. This is a great change. It should have been done years ago, and to be honest, the minor victory systems should just be replaced, and I mean that for the Edencom and the Triglavian ones. They've been a serious pain in the balls far too many years, and I'm glad that this change has happened. So if you have 0 standings with Edencom and Triglavians, you can go into either of the minor victory systems now, which is pretty nice. Loyalty point stores. All complete ship hulls have been removed from loyalty point stores, so you cannot any longer go into a loyalty point store and exchange a Nexus chip and a Tech 1 ship hull to get a faction ship hull. They're gone. All you can get now is blueprints, but the blueprints price has been slightly decreased. Some of the more exotic items have been removed and replaced with a new component, the net resonators. So we'll take a look at those. Say we wanted to buy a healer, you'll notice that the components down here has changed, and we now have this Gurustas net resonator. Can you guess where these are bought? That's right, Faction Warfare loyalty point stores, because apparently everything has to be in the Faction Warfare loyalty point stores now. So this should, in theory, reduce the cost of these hulls. But then, because you cannot buy the hulls themselves directly from the loyalty point store, which was always cheaper than building them, maybe it'll balance out, because I think several billion loyalty points were exchanged in the weekend before the patch hit. Everyone was buying up as many hulls as they could. So we'll see what the prices in the market are going to be like. I'm sure they're going to fluctuate rather a lot. Quite a few other loyalty point stores have had items go missing from them, which is a bit strange. Federation Navy drone damage amplifiers have gone missing from some of the Galante loyalty point stores, and they've popped up in different ones, so I'm not quite sure what all that's about. Maybe it was just an oversight, or maybe they're eventually planning to remove all completed items and replace them all with blueprints to make sure that everything is being built and not just simply bought complete. And that's pretty much the end of the expansion notes. We will take a look at the patch notes, which came out on Wednesday. In fact, on Tuesday, they actually changed things before the patch. More Homefront operations things. Some of the skill books coded wrong because someone put the wrong numbers in the database, so that was fixed. And then on Wednesday, they nerfed a whole lot of stuff because everything was overpowered. And then on Thursday, they gave it back some of the power because they'd nerfed them too much and they were underpowered, and they were tinkering with all the new sites in nullsec because they weren't working properly. Right, that's the patch notes out the way. Let's get into the new ships. And the first one is the Squall. This is a Tech 1 hauler, and this is what it looks like. A big blobby rectangle. Pretty nice. Here are the traits of the Squall. It is a hauler, and every level of Upwell Hauler gives you 20% bonus to missile damage. That's right, we have combat haulers that can fire missiles, and it gives you 10% bonus to the ship infrastructure hold. Infrastructure hold is new, I'll explain that in a few moments. And the roll bonus, this was added on Wednesday as part of the nerf. 90% reduction to heavy missile, heavy assault missile and rapid light missile launcher CPU and power grid fitting requirements. 90% reduction to effective distance travel for jump fatigue because it's a hauler and all haulers have that. And it can link to an orbital skyhook and steal stuff. That's again all part of the nullsec. So let's have a look in the attributes and have a look at this infrastructure hold. Where is it? It's in a different place on each of the ships. Look, happily, when you mouse over it, it tells you everything that fits in it. And the things that fit in it are, deep breath, colony reagents, Upwell structures, structure rigs, structure modules, stand-up fighters, structure ammo, quantum cores, orbital skyhooks, customs gantries, sovereignty structures, sovereignty upgrades, and that's all the building stuff. Here's the good stuff: moon materials, fuel blocks, planetary commodities, and refined ice. So even this tiny little Tech 1 hauler can carry 67,500 cubic meters of fuel blocks, PI, moon materials, and ice. That is pretty nice. So let's have a look at the fit I made for this. This is one of the fits I made for this. Just simulate it. High slots, 3 rapid light missile launcher 2s with auto-targeting missiles. Auto-targeting because the scan resolution is pretty low, which means it's going to take a long time for you to target lock anything. So auto-targeting missiles don't need you to target anything, you just turn them on and they shoot at the nearest aggressive target. We have an improved cloaking device and a 50 meganewton compact micro warp drive, so you can do the cloak micro warp drive trick. If you don't know what this is a way of getting you moving and getting you aligned cloaked on any ship which doesn't have a covert ops cloaking device. The way you do this, as soon as you come through the gate, you align to something, instantly turn on the cloaking device, instantly turn on the micro warp drive. Even though the cloaking device is supposed to stop you being able to turn anything else on, you can, if you're quick, get off one cycle of the micro warp drive, and then when the micro warp drive cycle is almost complete, you turn off the cloak and spam warp, and you should instantly go into warp. So that's how that works. So this ship has enough power grid and CPU to let you fit that. Quite a lot of other haulers do not. Tank wise, we have a Tech 2 large medium shield extender and a Tech 2 medium shield extender and 2 Tech 2 multi-spectrum shield hardeners. Also for tank in the low slots we have a damage control 2 and a power diagnostic system 2, A to give us enough power and B because it adds shields itself. When we overheat the hardeners when we're under attack, this ship gets a respectable 33,309 effective hit points with no real holes in its resist. So that is pretty good for a Tech 1 hauler. In the low slots, I have put 1 inertial stabilizer 2 because without it, the align time is quite a slow 9 seconds. With this, it reduces it to 7. It's still pretty slow, but well worth that. 2 hyperspace velocity optimizers for faster warp, and 1 low friction nozzle joint just to get us below the 7-second mark. So without the eye stab and the nozzle joints, it's a 10-second align. With the eye stab, it's 8, and with this, it's 7. So we've saved 3 seconds aligning. That's pretty good. That is not bad for a Tech 1 hauler. DPS, it does 150, that's with the auto-targeting missiles. If you actually have time to target things and use Tech 2 Furies, that goes up to 222. So I guess you could kind of maybe fit this as some kind of combat ship if you want to put some ballistic controls. I mean, it's got plenty of CPU for them. So yeah, you can go up to about 350 DPS on a Tech 1 hauler. I'm not sure why you would, but you can. I think the missiles on these ships are just a bit of a gimmick, really. They don't really do all that much. So that's a Tech 1 hauler. There are two Tech 2 versions, a Deep Space Transport and a Covert Ops. Let's have a look at the Deep Space Transport first. And this is what this looks like. It's longer than the Tech 1 and it's got armour plates on the top and the bottom. Other than that, it's another oblong, it's another big square thing. Right, let's have a look at the traits for this thing. Transport ship skills per skill level, 5% bonus to fleet hangar capacity, and 4% bonus to all shield resists, which is nice. And for each level of Upwell Hauler, you get 10% bonus to ship infrastructure hold, and 25% bonus to missile damage. Roll bonus, again fitting bonus for missiles, plus 2 bonus to warp core strength because we are a deep space transport, and a 100% bonus to the benefits of overheating afterburners, microwatt drives, local repair modules, resistance modules, Nosferatus and energy newts. Again, it can steal from skyhooks, and it has 90% reduction for jump fatigue. So at maximum skills, because I do already have maximum skills in this ship, the infrastructure hold is 90,000. So that's 90,000 cubic meters of PI, moon materials, fuel blocks, ice, all that stuff. And it also has a fleet hangar of 37,500. So that's pretty nice. As you know, fleet hangars can hold anything. So it's got 37,500 fleet hangar plus 90,000 infrastructure, plus a normal one of 3,000. And the fit is 3 Rapid Light Missile Launcher 2s. At the moment they're fitted with auto-targeting missiles to give us 167 DPS. If you go for Fury, it's 250 DPS. Very much like the previous ship, we have an improved cloaking device 2 and a 50 Mega Newton microwatt drive to do the microwatt drive cloak thing, which is pretty nice. Tank wise, a medium compact shield extender because CPU was tight. We have a large Tech 2 shield extender, 2 multi-spectrum shield hardener 2s, an EM shield hardener 2 because without it the EM hull is quite significant on the ship. Also for tank we have a damage control 2 and both rigs are field extenders to give us even more EHP. When you overheat the hardeners, this fit gets 216,626 EHP. You can play around with getting like an extra large ancillary shield booster on this and overheat it and that will give you stupid amounts of rep, or 2 large ancillary reps and overheat them both and get decent amounts of rep, but I just went for a lazy boy passive fit. Even though it has plus 2 warp core strength, I've added a warp core stabilizer just in case anyone has 3 points. Now they'll need 5 to pin you down. Bad news if there's lots of them, or bad news if they're in a Navy Mollusk. And again I put an inertial stab on this just to reduce the align time because without it, it is 19-second align time. That's slow even for a deep space transport. So 19 seconds, put 1 ice stab on and we go down to 15. So that's saving us 4 seconds per warp, which is quite significant. So that's the fit I came up with that. And let's have a look at the blockade runner. Looks very similar to the deep space transport, it's just half as long. So it's short, it's got the little armour plates. Other than that, it looks exactly the same as all the others. Let's take a look at the traits. Transport ships bonuses per skill level, 5% bonus to warp speed and warp acceleration. So this is nice and fast in warp. 20% reduction in cloaking devices CPU requirement. Remember, that's per level. So if you have level 5 transport ships, you need no CPU to fit cloaking devices. Upwell Hauler bonus per skill level, 10% bonus to infrastructure hold, and 15% bonus to missile damage. Again, the usual 90% reduction in CPU and power grid fittings for heavy missile, heavy assault, and rapid light. It can fit covert ops cloaking devices and covert sinos because, of course, it is a blockade runner. Cloak reactivation delay reduced to 5 seconds, immune to all cargo scanners. Again, it's a run-of-the-mill blockade runner. The usual 90% reduction in distance travel for jump fatigue purposes, and again, this can hook itself up to orbital skyhooks and steal things from them. Attributes wise, the infrastructure hold, even though this is a small little blockade runner, it still has a 45,000 cubic meter infrastructure hold. So this thing's going to be really popular for doing PI, because you can warp cloaked and it holds 45,000 cubic meters of PI. It's also going to be good for refueling stations, because again it can warp cloaked and it can hold 45,000 cubic meters of fuel blocks. So let's take a look at the fit. I've come up with this. High slots again, 3 rapid light missile launcher 2s. At the moment it's fitted with auto-targeting light missiles for 130 DPS. If you put Fury, it goes up to 194. They're all kind of around 200 DPS with Fury. Covert Ops cloaking device, no micro warp drive because we don't need it because we can warp cloaked anyway. Defense, we have 2 compact large shield extenders and 2 Tech 2 multi-spectrum shield hardeners, which when they're overheated give you 51,717 EHP on a blockade runner. That's impressive for a blockade runner. Yes, there's an EM hole, but I couldn't be bothered to fix it, because if anyone target locks you in a blockade runner, you've clearly done something wrong because you don't know how to use your covert ops cloak. I could of course have put an afterburner on this just to burn out in bubbles, and all of these ships, because they're haulers, you can fit nullifiers, so you would lose a missile launcher and get a nullifier. Interdiction, nullifier 2, boom. So you'd lose some of your missile DPS, but as I said, they're only gimmicks anyway. And nullifiers will let you pass through bubbles, in which case you don't need to burn out of them with an afterburner. Low slots, I've gone for 2 initial stabilizer 2s because you want to be as fast to laning as possible. Even with 2 of these, we're only scraping under 4 seconds. I did look at putting 2 nozzle joint rigs on, but that doesn't reduce you down to the next whole second. Without these, it's 6 seconds. With these, it's 4 seconds. With one of them, it's 5. You've got nothing better to do with your low slots on a blockade runner than align time, so that's how it is. 4 second align. And I have put 2 hyperspatial velocity optimizers in this. So this thing is lightning fast in warp. 11.41 AU. That is lightning fast. So that is the fit I came up with for this. So these ships are pretty good. They are a little bit slow to align, but other than that, they're pretty much better than most other haulers. On Tuesday, they were ridiculously overpowered. On Wednesday, they were ridiculously underpowered. And on Thursday, they were restored to what we see now. This is probably subject to change. We'll see what the kill boards do and how much panic CCP cause amongst themselves. And last but not least, we have the new freighter, the Avalanche. And none of these ships have been built yet because they take about 12 days to build, so no one will be flying one of these because they haven't been built yet. Let's have a look at the traits of the Avalanche freighter. Per skill level of Upwell freighter skill, you get 10% bonus to missile damage and 10% bonus to ship infrastructure hold capacity, and weirdly, a 20% bonus to auto-targeting missile damage. That's over and above the 10% missile damage, so your auto-targeting missiles are getting 30% extra damage per skill level of Upwell Freighter. I only had that skill at 3, I didn't want to spend all that money on injecting all the way up to level 5, so we'll see what the damage is like on level 3. So remember, there's another 60% damage to go on top of the auto-targeting missiles from what I'm showing you here. Roll bonus, again, jump fatigue, and for some reason this thing can fit a capital flex shield hardener. These shield hardeners can be scripted to improve the resistance on any one of the 4 damage types, but there is not a script that improves all of them. Without the script, it does 16% to all. With the script, it does significantly more. But bit of a gimmick. It is unable to use any cloaking devices, because that would be ridiculous. And again, it can hook up to orbital skyhooks and steal things from them. So this is the silly fit I've come up with for this thing. In the high slots, 6 rapid heavy missile launcher 2s with Scourge Fury. This is doing 603.9 damage. And remember, I only have skill level 3, so there's another 20% damage to come on top of that. So that's going to be quite a lot. But with auto-targeting missiles, this goes up to 642. And remember, I only have skill level 3. There's another 60% damage to get added onto these when I hit skill level 5. So this thing is easily going to get over 1000 DPS with auto-targeting missiles, which is just as well, because the scan resolution is so low it's going to take you about 6 weeks to target lock anything. That's why it uses auto-targeting missiles. Low slots have gone for 2 reinforced bulkhead 2s and a damage control 2 to bump up the structure to 156,250 hit points with 60 resist to all. All the mid slots again are tank, a large shield extender 2 and 2 multi-spectrum shield hardener 2s. You will notice that this thing has a ton of power grid and CPU left over, even though I've like pretty much maxed out the fit. I'm not sure why, but this thing is kind of a capital ship and kind of not. Like, it can use the capital shield flex hardener, but they did not give it a bonus to capital size shield extenders. It cannot fit them, so large shield extender is the most you can fit. So when we overheat the hardeners, this thing gets 639,844 EHP, which is not quite ungankable in high sec, but it's fairly close, and considering that it's kicking out at maximum skill level over 1000 DPS, it'll be able to kill a couple of ships that are shooting at it before it dies. Now, you can of course bling the crap out of this thing by fitting faction bulkheads and officer damage controls, and you can put Estamel's shield hardeners if you want. You can get this thing to well over 1 million EHP, and if you use links and implants you can get it up to 1.5 million EHP, which in high sec is pretty much functionally ungankable unless they bring a couple of hundred ships. But yeah, that is the Avalanche. And let's have a look at the attributes to see how big the hold are. The infrastructure hold is 2.6 million, and remember, I do only have skill level 3, so this is going to go up by another 20% on top of that, which makes it like 3 million. 3 million infrastructure hold, so good for placing structures and things like that. Even the basic capacity is 162,000, so it can hold a decent amount of normal stuff as well. So that is the fit. I came up with that. Not that I'll ever use an Avalanche, but I definitely will use the other haulers, especially the blockade runner, because it's really nice. Having this much EHP on a blockade runner is ridiculous. It means you can sail through most even moderately decent smart bomb camps and still be able to warp away without being dead. So that is everything in the Equinox release. Oh, that took a little while, didn't it? As I said, things are still very much subject to change. As you saw with the Homefront operations and the capital ships and these haulers, they've been changed 2 or 3 times during this week already. I'm sure more changes will come next week. And if anything major changes, then I'll make another video about it. But that's the end of this one. I hope you found this informative, and I hope you look after yourself until we see each other again. I'll talk to you again soon.